happened this week? We made our debut on the show. Judas betrayed Jesus. And of course, there was a lot of footballing action all across the globe, from the local scene down to Europe. We saw Arsenal do the unthinkable. We saw a lot in the Europa League. All of this happened over the course of just 1 week. And yes, if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to another edition of The Gliders, where we bring to you exclusive and of course the very best sports gist on YouTube. My name is Joy Ojablu Sudo Euphoria, E to the U to the P to the H to the O to the R to the I and to the A, Euphoria. And like Liverpool, I never walk alone. I am doing this with three very fine gentlemen in the studio, where I have with me someone who is making his debut alongside others who are already familiar faces in your screens or on your screens. I have with me, let me start from the person making his debut. Let's give him the floor today. Joining me is Felix Egbemiche, who is Felix the Great on the show. Remember, we gave everyone nicknames the other day, or everyone went by their nicknames on the other edition of the show. So yes, we're sticking with that. Felix the Great joined us on the show today. How are you doing, Felix?
I'm good, Joy. I'm fine. Good week to be making my debut on the show. Last time out, I had an arm strain, and now I'm back.
Are you part of those who betraying people? This is a week of betrayal.
It wasn't a betrayal, but I had an arm strain, and now I'm back fully fit. Let's get the ball rolling.
So you're being like Saka, who comes in and of course he is turning up and delivering at the very highest of stages.
If you put it that way,
Okay.
Saka is somebody that I can be like.
Okay, you want to be like, oh sorry, you can't be like, oh you want to be like, okay. Let's leave that for now. And of course, returning on the show is someone who likes to be put on a high pedestal. His name is TMT, Timothy Deibo is his name. Timothy, how you doing?
Hi Joy, good morning. Welcome to another episode of the show. And yeah, thank you for the compliments. Thank you for the acknowledgement. Thank you for putting me on my rank. You sabi person. Let's get this rolling.
You don't be proud. You don't be proud.
No, na levels now, na levels.
Wow. I'm happy for you. Anyways, finally is the gentleman of the show. We like to call him the dapper guy, of course, because he brings in the looks. And of course, when he opens his mouth, you know that he is spitting facts and he is talking like someone with authority, because he is. He's an authority when he gets to talk. Joining me on the show is Emmanuel Sebastian. Manny, how you doing?
Well, I'm fine. Good to be here once again. Still basking in the euphoria of the first edition. So, so it's the second edition.
Don't
so let's get it rolling.
Of course, getting the ball rolling, we are starting from where I know you want us to start from, because on the show, on the first edition of the show, or the first episode of the show, we talked a lot about the games that was going to go down this week. I thought a lot went down. Of course, everybody's talking about betrayal today, but before the betrayal, a lot went down on Tuesday and Wednesday. On Wednesday, the most important one went down at the Santiago Bernabeu, where there were hot takes, there were a lot of sacrifices, there were a lot of T-junction things, doings up and down, Ramota dance, Ramota, everything. But at the end of the day, it was Arsenal who did the double. That's where it is surprising for a lot of people. How would you spank Real Madrid at home? Okay, that one at your house, now you get house. And then you go to their house, they lock roof, you beat them inside. That's how it went down on Wednesday, and we are here to talk about it. I will start from Emmanuel. Emmanuel, did you see? You predicted them. No, I remember.
I
you
thought you were going to
predicted them
forget
to
that.
win. No. You predicted Real Madrid to win at home, but he said Arsenal was going to qualify. Now, Real Madrid did not win. They lost at home. They did not qualify, and they were actually shamed. That's the word. They were shamed. They were disgraced, because out of that whole paparazzi and everything, you could not even get a shot on target in the first half. What happened with Real Madrid?
Well, I think I wouldn't want to put it down to what happened to Real Madrid alone. I'll put it down to the brilliance of Arsenal. I mean, they were magnificent across both legs. You know, thumbs up to Arsenal. They played so well. I mean, if you thought the game at the Emirates was a fluke, I mean, people thought it was a one-off game. I mean, how do you play a football game? You score 2 free kicks and another brilliant goal from Declan Rice, who's never scored a free kick before. Then they went to the Santiago Bernabeu to get that kind of result. I mean, that was a Real Madrid team in search of 3 goals before kickoff to level things up. But at the end of the day, it was Arsenal who had more attempts at goal, more shots on target, and it was
They
looking
even
like
lost the penalty in the first
lost the
half.
penalty as well. I don't know what Saka was trying to do there. For every Panenka, most Panenkas I've seen,
Who they place Panenka?
you go down the middle. So I don't know what Saka was thinking. But I mean,
Sideways Panenka.
but what was that? He kept his cool. He was still in the game, probably Arsenal's best players, even though he's not into full fitness yet. But that was the Saka we saw. It was everywhere.
Absolutely.
It was fantastic for Arsenal. Kept his cool. I mean, what a finish that was over Courtois. A lovely dink. And at the end of the day, it was a deserved win for Arsenal. They were better than Madrid on all aspects. I mean, if you want to pick a player for player, Martinelli, Vinicius, we didn't see Vinicius all game. I mean, he scored. He was celebrating as if they were going to score 4 more. But Martinelli was...
Oscar goal,
that left flank, he was marauding, up top, defending as well, going past his marker with ease, and he got rewarded with the goal at the end. So across both legs, Arsenal were fantastic, and I will put it more to the brilliance of Arsenal than to what Madrid didn't do well in that game for me.
Okay, brilliance of Arsenal. We're not taking anything away from Arsenal.
I
And
wouldn't
while we're
want
not
to.
taking anything away from Arsenal, we're going to look at the other. There's somebody that is going to talk about the Inter game. We've known from the very start of the show that he has been a ardent supporter of Inter Milan, and that particular game that Inter played at the San Siro was one for the books. This jubilation from Mr. Martinez was something that is going to be called, or what we say, we hang it in the low. That is one of those kind of celebrations that we had on that day. But before we go into that, because I know that he's itching, if you see the way he's itching right now, let's talk about it, talking about TNT, I'll get to you. But before then, let's talk about the 2 other games briefly. Felix the Great, we saw that game. We just finished talking about Arsenal right now. Before the Arsenal game, we saw teams that wanted to come back. We saw Borussia Dortmund, who wanted to come back, who were looking to go into the next round. We saw how they played. We saw Gorossi get a hat-trick in that game. In fact, they got 4 goals. One was ruled out offside. Would have gotten a game for the books that day, but we actually did get one. Barcelona actually removed their leg from the pedal and almost got punished for that. Luckily, they escaped. And then the second one at the Villa Park. What a game that particular one was also. Felix, how did you see that game at the Villa Park especially? I know Dortmund are a team that are known to disappoint, so many people will not really put it past them to have lost that tie against Barcelona. But for the English team in this fixture, talking about PSG and Aston Villa, PSG did so well at the Parc des Princes. Coming to Aston Villa this time around, they did not expect what hit them. What happened? What was the change in plans? Although they lost, but what happened in that game?
For me, I think Unai Emery said something in the first leg that the late goal that Mendes scored didn't really have any effects on the game. And I kind of believed him until the second leg. I am struggling to think where Aston Villa lost that tie. Was it the last 5 minutes of the first leg or their first half performance in the second leg? I think it was in between both games, but Aston Villa tried. They did something I expected them to do, to give a fight, because if you watch Aston Villa under Unai Emery, they never back down from a fight, so they gave a fight. I expected them to win, but what I did not expect them to do was to start the way they started. 3-2, they had a couple other chances. Konsa, his head on that Rashford cross, any other side of the ball, and it would have been maybe 4-2 extra time. They were on the up, but PSG held on. For the other game, the Barcelona Borussia Dortmund game, I think the most difficult kind of lead to take into those kind of tie is when you feel you are comfortable. The coach of Barcelona, Hans Flick, made a couple of changes. He rested Pedri, started Gavi in the defense. He brought in Araujo and took out, was it Inigo Martinez? Araujo partnered Kubasi in the centre back. Their energy was low. And
but should 2 players have really made them be lose in that manner? Because at the point it was looking like they were, in the first half, Barcelona had just one.
So sometimes it's not about the player, it's about the message, the signal that you are sending. It felt with that formation, it felt like, okay, we already did the job in the first leg.
But they already did.
Yeah, they already did the job, but they almost got themselves into a messy situation. But for Ben Sebaini, who did that own goal, Borussia Dortmund were on the up. Like Joy mentioned, they scored a goal that was ruled out.
They scored all the goals on the night.
Yeah, they scored all the goal on the night. So it was a very, very interesting round of UEFA Champions League game. Nothing unexpected. I expected everybody who won in the first leg to progress to the next stage. But the drama that they gave us, the chaos that they gave us was something that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And which is why a lot of people were so disappointed in Real Madrid, because we thought that with all we saw on Tuesday, Wednesday, with all ball for me, man.
Giving it close.
Wait till this. Play ball for me. Which one you they carry? When they do guard of honor for una.
No aura, no vibes, and inshallah.
No, please, no. But talking about ball, we saw ball yesterday night at the Old Trafford, the theatre of dreams. What was made of dreams was what we saw yesterday, where Manchester United looked as if they were out, but somehow, somewhere, I don't know where they dug into that spirit of the former Old Trafford or the former Manchester United we used to know and gave it a fight. Andre Onana was the subject of, or the main reason this tie was talked about outside the pitch. And yesterday, he put on a lot of saves, which would have gone unnoticed had they had lost that fixture, because, I mean, they were even a man up because there was a red card for the opposing side, Lyon, in the second half of the game while they were leading. While they were playing a draw, it was 2-2, and then Lyon got red carded, and then it became 3-2. The goal scorer for the second goal got a red card. And we thought that Manchester United were actually going to just hang on or get a late goal to get it 3-2. And then surprisingly, you will get 10 men. Now you they lead all of a sudden. And we saw tears, hot boiling tears. We saw literal tears in that game. There was a particular fan, a young boy.
I feel for that boy.
Seriously, I mean,
It was a roller coaster of emotion.
A roller coaster of emotion. For everyone who wanted Manchester United to lose, I included yesterday. When we saw all of that, I think some of us, everybody just calmed down. And then Manchester United did the unthinkable. And the next clip we were seeing of the boy was the boy ecstatic. That's what football can do. And we're going to talk about that particular fixture alongside the Inter Milan fixture. Timothy, what was the turning point for Manchester United in the late part of the game? Was it just the football aura, or was it just the boys deciding that no, we're not losing this night? What happened?
Okay, firstly, I think where they turned it around was, firstly, they should have not been in that position where they were, because they started the game the way you would expect Manchester United to start the game. They were 2-0 up. The way they started the game, they pressed very well, got an early goal. Then towards the end of the first half, they got another goal, Diogo Dalot, and there was control till when it was getting to the later stages of the game. Then there was a plot twist, and for a team who got a red card in the 90th minute, you'd have expected that Man United would up the ante and get it up from there, but they just lost their head, and after they lost their head, then they felt that we no fit lose for you, and maybe they saw the old drama and they knew what was going to be talked about, how the likes of Paul Scholes will go out at you, how the likes of Gary Neville will go out at you and come at you saying that this is what you did, and they decided that okay, we are going to raise it up, and from there, that was how they won the game. So I think it was more of a team spirit thing, and we are going to win this. So it was not
a coaching thing.
It was not a coaching thing.
I was going to ask, if United had lost yesterday, who would we have put the blame on? The players on the pitch or the coach with the substitutions he made?
Well, I don't think he had wrong substitutions, because if you are leading to
United had one man up, the coach was doing substitution. He brought in Harry Amas.
Patrick Dogu was tired. Okay, looking at the bench of Manchester United, who would have expected?
So eventually he brought on Mount.
He brought on Mount
forward.
Yeah.
He changed something. They were playing with the back five.
Yeah, that's the point.
You are playing with the back five from the start of the game.
But Patrick Dogu was tired and
you are still playing the back five.
Okay.
Made zero sense to me.
So you are saying you have an issue with his formation?
Luke Shaw was already on the pitch. Switched to a back four. Luke Shaw left back, Dalot right back, Euro and Maguire centre back. Ruben
Amorim has constantly said nothing would make him change his dynamics.
Did he eventually change it or not? When he pushed Maguire to the striker,
he put Maguire forward and Kobe Mainoo as two forwards. Does that mean he changed his approach to the game? There were still 3 backmen. There were still 5 midfielders. Putting Maguire forward and Kobe Mainoo does not mean he changed his approach. He just changed the men who would go there, and because Maguire was going to have that aerial presence.
But that gave Lyon a kind of different problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it does not mean he changed his approach to the game. He just felt that okay, it was good to use other players. And of course, looking at taking out Oiland, who would you have expected him to put there?
So while we
Maguire
are
was the
while we
person.
are going to go back and we'll continue the back and forth on whether it was his formation, all of that, Manchester United put on a fight yesterday and they got their win. Talking about another team that put on a fight was Inter Milan, which I wanted you to talk about. What do you think Inter Milan's chances are for winning the Champions League this season? That's your question.
Firstly, I've always been vocal about how they will win it, so I do not expect that. Yes, I do not expect that at this point they will back down. If you concede, if you have trailed in just 11 minutes in the Champions League so far, in out of 1,000 plus minutes, it means that you are doing something right. They may not play the best of football, they may not have the biggest of profile players, but there's something they are doing that's making them get into this position. I know Barcelona is going to be a very different test, but of course, they face Bayern Munich, they face bigger teams in the competition, and I think that they can go all the way to do it. And they were there just 2 seasons ago, so why can't they get there this time around? So
all right, if they get there and they peradventure win it, Martinez Ballon d'Or, do you think this time around nobody should talk about overlooking him? Because I think before the conversation in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, a lot of people were tipping Mbappe to be a front runner for the Ballon d'Or this season. Mbappe went out disgracefully in the Champions League. Martinez is marching forward. Martinez gets to win it.
Became the first Inter player to score 5 goals.
Actually, apart from that, he had a very fantastic season last season, but was overlooked because of, I think, of a miss he made in the Copa America. So this time around, do you think it's redemption time? He wins it and no one talks to him, or no one talks near him for the Ballon d'Or.
I think if Inter wins the treble, they're leading. They're in the semi-final of the Copa Italia and they win the Champions League. And I think let's forget about the PR, but it will be really hard. Although there's the part of voting block, because the South American voting block, European voting block, and all that. But if you win the treble, I don't think it's going to be something you want to overlook, considering his numbers also. I know, numbers does not do it all the time, but if you have the numbers, being the captain, leading the team to a treble, then also winning the Champions League, then I think that you should win the Ballon d'Or. What more do you win the Ballon d'Or with these days, rather than, I don't know what metric makes it higher than that, winning the treble. So I think if they win the Champions League, then I don't see why, even if they don't win the treble, but like, okay, still win a double, it still has that push. But maybe there's a place of PR, because we know that sometimes PR work for this award. So, but I think if they win the treble, like outrightly, then Lautaro Martinez has to be that guy that will win the Ballon d'Or.
Well, we've seen nowadays that treble doesn't win you Ballon d'Ors, because
Erling
Haaland would have gotten.
He was competing against Messi.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
there's no Messi this time around.
Okay, so
Messi is like a god.
Ballon d'Or minus, treble minus Messi gets you a Ballon d'Or. All right, that is Timothy. That's TMT.
Yes,
everybody.
Yes.
That's the mathematical formula for this show. But from Timothy, along the line, you will find out that of others. I didn't put it in his mouth. He said it, so I'll put it down. Timothy's Ballon d'Or formula, and we're going to put it on the show when the Ballon d'Or season is around the corner. Timothy is Messi minus Messi plus treble equals Ballon d'Or. Take notes. We'll bring this
with performance.
No,
you can't put performance.
Are you
like
backing
people
down?
Like just make Bastoni go win because he won the treble. So like that's with performance. Like
with performance. Don't worry, we are adding everything up together. But because there's a lot to talk about when it concerns the Ballon d'Or and the Champions League, which is something we're going to continue to talk about consistently when we get into those stages. We're going to be having the Champions League very soon in the quarterfinals or in the semi-final stages. So we're going to talk about that on subsequent edition of the show. Let's go to what we're going to have this weekend in club-side football, starting from the NPFL. We're going to just touch on one game, but let me give you the fixtures for match day 34 of the run-in period of the NPFL. Out of 38 games, we're going to match day 34 this weekend, and we're starting from Enugu, where Lobby Stars will be hosting Rangers. Home at home for Rangers in Enugu tomorrow. Lobby Stars will be up against Rangers. Eyimba will be hosting Kano Pillars, a big game of that fixture. Lobby Stars are relegated, by the way, so I don't know if this is going to really make so much of a drama in Enugu. But I mean, Enugu Rangers are playing at home. That's just why I want to talk about it. Katsina United will be up against Abia Warriors 5:30. A very important fixture. Abia Warriors are chasing the continental spots. On Sunday, we are going to have 7 games, and the biggest of that fixture is going to be the game in Ibadan, where 3SC will be up against Remo Stars. 3SC also chasing continental spots, while Remo Stars are chasing their maiden title win. that is going to be one for the books. That's by 4 p.m. Niger Tornadoes will be up against Bielsa United. El Kanemi Warriors versus Korodu City. Both will be by 3 p.m. Heartland, who got a win against Rangers, by the way, in the previous game, which was away from home. This time they'll be at home and they'll be welcoming Kwara United, who lost at home to Bendel Insurance. All of these games are really games that you want to look forward to. I will talk about all of them on Monday on the next edition of the show. And the next games will be Plateau United versus Aqua United. And finally, we have by 5:30 on Sunday, we have Bendel Insurance at the stadium in Benin. They'll be welcoming Nasarawa United. Those are the games in the NPFL. But the game we're going to talk about on the show is that game in Ibadan. I know that's what everybody's eye will be on this weekend. 3SC versus Remo Stars. That is always a game for the books when it concerns Southwest derbies. That's one of, like, in recent years, that's one of the biggest derbies that people look forward to. 3SC. But this time around, it has even bigger consequences. It has bigger talking points because we know 3S are always chasing continental sports. This time around, we want to see if they will be the one that will actually stop Remo Stars from getting their maiden win. And this time around, let me start from the man who is everything NPFL. Let's start from Sebastian. This game, how do you see this game going or panning out in Ibadan this weekend?
Well, it's going to be a big game. The game of the weekend, if you ask me. It's a Southwest derby. Remo Stars, they've shown this season that they are the king of the Southwest. They're yet to lose a Southwest derby game. I mean, it's been 10 points from 4 Southwest derbies for Remo Stars this season. So, but for Shooting Stars, they need to show fight. I mean, without their fans, because of the punishment that has been dished out to them for crowd troubles in recent times. So, maybe an advantage for Remo Stars, because when you play in such a hostile environment with the fans, having a go at you, you tend to feel it as footballers. But no fans for Shooting Stars, but they need to do the job. They still need to
more like a neutral ground. For them.
More like a neutral ground. So they still need to do the job to qualify for the continent. Shooting Stars, they're still in the picture, but they've just fell by the wayside in the last couple of games. They had a bad run recently where they didn't win in about 6-7 games as well. So. But at home, they're yet to lose. They've been formidable at the Lake Salami Stadium this season. So it's hard to see Shooting Stars, losing that game. A draw might just be the result at the end of the day. But playing without the fans might just add something for Remo Stars, and they want to extend that gap to Rivers United, who play at home to Sunshine Stars as well. That's another game to also look forward to. So, Remo Stars, they need to win to give themselves that leeway as far as the title is concerned. But it's the Southwest Derby.
I think that Remo Stars have to take charge. They started the season very well. They went away towards the beginning of the season, and they really got so much points on the road.
First game was at Abia Warriors.
Yeah, they
watched that one live.
They got decent points on the road, but I think towards the second half, they've not really done so well for themselves, and it's why they are in this position right now. I think they're just 7 points
above Rivers United.
Yes,
yeah, 7 points. You're right.
7 points above Rivers United. And Rivers United play at home against Sunshine Stars. Honestly, I do not expect that Sunshine Stars will go to Rivers United and win. So it's looking likely that Rivers United will win that one. And if Rivers United win that one, and Remo Stars don't get points on the road, then it's not going to look decent for them towards the remaining 3 games of the season. So they just have to find something in that game when they play Shooting Stars.
And they're one of the best away teams this season. Remo Stars have picked up some couple of crucial points away from home.
I think only Rivers United
have more. So is the Southwest
I think they're third or fourth, because I know that Niger Tornadoes have a couple.
Yes, Niger Tornadoes as
so
well.
They're either third or fourth. So it's not, that's why I said they started early, going away to win, but towards the second half of the season, they've not really put in that fight when they go on the road.
And talking about this, I'll come to Felix on this one. This particular game, the history of this game. Before last season, Remo Stars had never lost to Shooting Stars, both home and away. And then that was finally broken last season in Ibadan. Yes. Of that particular one. Do you think that Remo Stars would start, because of course they won in Ikene this season, do you think they are going to start another run of keeping themselves away from losing to 3SC? Because I mean, a point is very important. If they can't get the win, getting a point is very crucial. They need every point they can get right now. Do you think this time around they'll remember the fact that Ibadan is one of the teams that they used to go to, or one of the grounds they used to go to and pick up points? Do you think that they'll go into that game without failing against them?
I feel Remo Stars have a very decent chance against Shooting Stars.
Decent?
Very decent chance against Shooting Stars. One, there will be no fans. So the atmosphere would be dead in that stadium. So it's just the players on the pitch getting
And
the
it is not a
business done.
5:30 game.
Yeah.
It's a 4 p.m.
Yeah.
game.
If there are no fans.
If you
so,
know, you know. Let me tell you that way.
So that is one. And secondly, Shooting Stars have not won in their last 4 games. So there is that also. There is that part also. So I feel it is a place that Remo Stars can go and get a point. And of course, you talked about the precedents of them not losing until last season. They won the first leg 2-0 in Ikene. They should be feeling positive. They dropped points at home in their last game.
Yeah.
They have to regain those points. Otherwise, like Timothy said, they lose this weekend.
Pressure.
Rivers United win. It's 4 points with 3 games.
Yes.
4 games.
It will be 4 games left.
Yeah,
With 4 games left
yeah.
of the season. So I'm not sure they want to be in that situation where they have to win all their home games and maybe win 1 away game to probably win the league. So they have to get the job done in Ibadan, and at least a draw is something that they should be looking at.
I feel there will be a surprise in Port Harcourt as well. I don't know. This is just me saying. Sunshine Stars, I mean, they are fighting to beat the drop. So,
Exactly. I don't.
and Rivers United, they've been far from convincing for most part of the games they played at home.
When you say surprise, Sunshine start playing up a result.
Yes, in
Not
Port Harcourt.
necessarily a win. Them dropping points is positive.
It's possible. I mean,
it's
Bayelsa
positive
United when they
news,
picked up
of
3
course.
points.
Yeah, it's actually possible.
it's
But
possible.
you look at what Rivers United know that they are in a position where they are not in the best of position, but they know they're in their position where they can still push till the end and win the title, because they know that if Remo Stars keep faltering one way or the other, and we know how Rivers United can be strong at home, and you can't play against a Sunshine Stars team that they lose home away, lose home away, and they are playing at home, and you see what is right ahead of you and try to put it off you. I don't think it will be right. So they just they know that it's a must-win game for them. Yeah, it's not the game that wins them the title, but they know that it's the game that gets them closer to the title if they want to have any fight towards the end of the season. So I know that Emmanuel thinks that there will be a surprise, but I don't think that Sunshine Stars can pull any surprise. But let's see. It's football. Anything happens.
And sadly enough, those 2 games are not on TV. So, but you just have to enjoy the games that we have on TV. I mean, we have some interesting games you can also watch on TV. There's a Niger
But the 2
Tornadoes.
biggest games of the weekend are not on TV.
I mean, we
Felix,
leave
what are
that to
you
we leave that to the handlers. But
organizers.
you just have to enjoy the ones you see on TV. The games are on TV, and just enjoy the best of NPFL and keep in touch across other mass centers for other games as well.
Okay, we're still going to touch on some things about local football, club football, where we're going to show you some of the clips or one of the goals of the President Federation Cup. That was a superb goal by Harrison of Ikorodu City, where he scored. He has always been giving. We talked about his assists in our last, the number of assists he has been giving in our last episode. And this time around, he went on to score from a corner. I mean, directly from a corner, and the celebration was cold. So yeah, we'll show you clips on all of that when we go back into talking about local football. But Mr. Ra, let's quickly touch light on what we're going to have in the weekend for European football. Starting from the EPL, it's still running everywhere. So it's March 33 of 38 in the EPL, with Liverpool looking very comfortable to win, but it's not over yet. So we're seeing Brentford versus Brighton tomorrow by 3 p.m. West Ham, Southampton 3 p.m. Everton, Man City, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, and of course those are the games that are for the, what we call them, we call it the PL. There's a name for the games that simultaneous by 3 p.m.
Go Rush.
The
Yeah,
Go
Go
Rush,
Rush,
yeah, the Go Rush games for that particular one. Then for the evening final game for tomorrow, being Saturday the 19th, there is Aston Villa versus Newcastle. Newcastle still chasing continental or chasing Champions League
football.
Let me not say they are very intense. We saw what they did midweek.
They are third on the log now.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They are very intense with
Yeah.
that 5-0 thrashing of Crystal Palace. They are looking really comfortable and looking like one of the teams that would chase out teams like Man City and Chelsea away from the Champions League next season, because every of these teams I've mentioned are still in contention for Champions League football next season. So Newcastle will be up against Aston Villa, who were coming from that disappointment of the Champions League, looking at what they would get for themselves also going into the remaining parts of the season. They also want to go to Europe this season. So yes, everybody's fighting for their head. on Sunday, we have Ipswich versus Arsenal. Man United, coming from that win against Lyon in the Europa, will be facing Wolves. But there's one thing we have to remember, that Man United have not won consecutive games. So they win today, they either draw points or they draw or they lose.
Everyone's come to an end.
Yes. Oh my God. They'll be up against Wolverhampton Wanderers by 2 p.m. on Sunday. There's a London derby where Fulham will be up against Chelsea. Chelsea lost but went on to qualify for the next round of the Conference League. But yes, they'll be facing Fulham away from home by 2 p.m. where our Nigerian brothers will be playing, or our Nigerian brothers we're talking about, it will be Calvin Bassey. We'll be looking to spoil the chances of Chelsea also going to the Champions League. And then we have Leicester City would be up against intending champions Liverpool by 4:30. And finally, for the match days, we'll talk about that. That will be Monday Night Football by 8 p.m. Tottenham Hotspur, with a very terrible season, will be up against Nottingham Forest, who are also in the contention for Champions League football. So all of those games are the games we're looking forward to this weekend. So I'll ask the guy the games. I'm not asking for analysis. I'm just asking, what game are you looking forward to this weekend? Starting from Sebastian, what game are you looking forward to in the EPL?
Well, it has to be the game at the King Power Stadium, Liverpool up against Leicester City. I mean, when the title, the favourites for the title are in action, you always want to keep an eye on. So that's the game for the weekend, Liverpool against Leicester, as they continue to get closer to the title. I think they need 2 more wins to be confirmed champions. So if they win on Sunday, it's 1 foot, maybe 1.5 foot into the title. So that's the game I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
okay, before I come to you, I remember that there's a boost in the camp of Liverpool this season. Salah renewed his contract, and this week, after our show on Monday, we got confirmation that Virgil van Dijk has also renewed his contract, and he will be staying with Liverpool. Do you think that this is all boiling down to the fact that Liverpool are looking to be champions, and these guys are saying, okay, we want to continue to build with this club, we want to continue to give our all, because this is the best place to be right now in the world?
I mean, those 2 players, like you talked about, Salah and Van Dijk, they are the core of this Liverpool team over the years under the previous manager, Jurgen Klopp. So it's good that they have extended. I mean, it's going to be their final contract with Liverpool. I mean, they extended by 2 years. For Mo Salah, I mean, I can't emphasize enough what he's done in the Premier League with Liverpool. And in a season where the Premier League will be losing, or potentially losing, Kevin De Bruyne, we don't know if he's going to stay in the Premier League, because, I mean, he will be leaving, he's announced he's going to be leaving Manchester City. So the fact that Salah will be staying for 2 more years, Virgil van Dijk will be staying for 2 more years as well. These are also superstars in the Premier League as well, big name players as well. So it's good for the Premier League, it's good for Liverpool. For Virgil van Dijk, I mean, since he came into the Premier League, or let me say since he moved to Liverpool, he's been the best defender in England, you know, for the last couple of years since he came into Liverpool. I know the OGs want to mention the past defenders, you know, the Ferdinand.
Right now, he's the best. He has been the best.
Right now, Virgil van Dijk is the best defender.
We need to respect the fact that those eras don't pass. So, like, he's the best defender right now.
Since, I don't want to say since he was a Southampton, but since he signed for Liverpool, and he's lived up to the price tag.
Absolutely.
I mean, when he was signed for that huge amount of money, a lot of eyebrows were raised. How would you sign a defender for such amount of money? But over the years, with what he's done, I mean, he's lived up to the price tag, and he's been constant in that back line. He hardly gets rotated. He's durable. His feet never gets injured, apart from when he got ACL. I mean, I think that injury was from Pickford.
And the way he came back from the ACL.
The way he came back as well. So he's been a mainstay. Whenever they want to rotate in that defense, it's always Van Dijk and someone else.
Yeah, I think the list is aside that ACL season is 32 games. So in the Premier League, so missing just 6 games means that, okay, you are doing something right. And of course, you cannot be a top defender and you will not play games. So Emmanuel I think we need to respect the fact that Virgil van Dijk has been that top defender right from when he joined Liverpool. I think this will be his 10th season. Yeah, this will be his 10th season. So he's been consistent and right from when he joined Liverpool. And we just have to give him that credit. He's the best defender in the Premier League. We know that we have had previous defenders, but
let's leave previous. Do you think that, as you're saying the best like this, people like Nicola will not be looking at you because he has someone like Saliba?
No.
You know, even Saliba knows that he looks up to Virgil. No, this is not me trying to. He said it that Virgil van Dijk is the player. One player he looks up to. So Virgil van Dijk has to be there. And for Liverpool, it's good that he's been extended for 2 more years, because you don't replace such kind of player easily. So right now the hierarchy will be looking at the replacements
So who did they groom?
to come on alongside. You bedding into
Yes,
Virgil van Dijk's
and
final
groom-
years, and also Mo Salah
groom,
as well.
yes, of
So
course.
just groom for the final years of their contract, and
Emmanuel, who do you
and then
think
you just-
Liverpool
you
can
kind of-
groom to fit into these two profiles?
I don't know. They are data driven, so they know the players they would want to sign. But there are a lot of young
All
defenders.
right,
out
let's
there
get
as
let's
well.
get Timothy's game of the weekend. Which game? I'm not asking for analysis.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Aston Villa against Newcastle. Newcastle are third on the log right now. I think Aston Villa are I don't know their position, but they are just few points behind the person in 5th position, because this season the Premier League will be having 5 teams.
Yeah,
so
7th, just behind Chelsea.
yes,
Same points, but goal difference.
yes.
is
So
what
I think
separates them.
Man City are just maybe 1 or 2 points ahead of them.
Yeah, just 1 point.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Newcastle, they've gotten to that position. They've won the Carabao Cup. You want to cap it up with qualifying for the Champions League. So it's my game of the weekend, absolutely.
Looking forward to that one. For Felix, which is
Yeah,
game? is
that's
of
the game
weekend?
for me. Newcastle United on the bounce, 5 games winning streak, and Aston Villa after what they did against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League, getting knocked out. I think they have that push, 3 points between them and the last spot in the Champions League position. It's a game that I would want to see how it plays out. Who would budge for each other? I feel Aston Villa would nick that one, but Newcastle can pull up a surprise.
Of course, talking about run-in, it's still run-in season in other teams, but I'll just give you the top of the other leagues. But the top games to look forward to in the La Liga would definitely be that game between Barcelona versus Celta Vigo, and of course, Real Madrid, after that disappointment in the Champions League, will be home at the same Santiago Bernabeu against Athletic Club
They go
on
open roof this
Sunday.
time.
They'll open. I hopefully they'll open roof this time around. And also another top team to look forward to is that game against La Palmas versus Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid going away from home tomorrow. Those are the games to look forward to in the La Liga. Of course, other games will be there for your viewing pleasure, but that is my top pick. The top 3 teams to always look forward to in the La Liga. Talking about the Serie A, as Inter Milan is closing in. Match day 33 is also starting tomorrow. We're looking at Roma versus Verona. We're seeing Napoli away to Monza, and of course Inter Milan, who are looking to do complete a treble this season, and are currently topping the log in that league, will be up against Bologna away from home on Sunday. Those are some of the games to look forward to this weekend. Of course, we've seen why I'm not bringing up team or the that's talking about the that's the French Ligue 1 is because it's already done.
We already
and
know the champion.
And what we are looking forward to are those that will be filling up the other European spots, and maybe those that are going to be making the drop, talking about getting relegated. So those are the games to look forward to in England. Talking about games to look forward to, there are games to look forward to in Nigeria today and this weekend, or a game to look forward to in Nigeria, a top games to look forward to, which is going to be the first leg of the final round of qualification for the Under-20 Women's World Cup. The Flamingos, after doing their business against South Africa, are now in the final round of qualification, and that will be against Algeria. The first leg is going to be played tomorrow at the Remo Star Stadium in Ikenne, and our girls are currently in camp, in high spirits, getting warmed, getting familiar with themselves in camp, and of course that's been their camp for recent years, and I think they are getting used to playing in Ikenne, not just playing in Ikenne, but also camping in Ikenne. They don't just camp in Lagos or anywhere. They are camped there. They are familiar there. They are getting used to the facilities. They're using top facilities that's provided by the Remo Star Stadium in that one. So the girls, as you can see on your screen, are getting ready to face Algeria in the first leg, which will be tomorrow, and the second leg will be next week, Friday, on the 21st, not Friday, so I'm going to be on the 21st of this month. So yes, next week Friday, by the way, not 21st. It's going to be next week Friday. They'll be going over to Algeria for the second leg, and we hope that they would have done their business here in Nigeria, so that by the time they go over there to Algeria, it's just going to be just for what's that word? Just
mere formality.
Just mere formality, and that's how we know the girls, because we trust the girls to score a lot of goals. Well, I'll look at this qualification round from the angle of the fact that the girls have been given so much attention when it concerns preparation, Emmanuel, as against their senior sisters in the Super Falcons.
Yeah.
How do you think this has affected them in their preparations for the World Cup that they are looking forward to go to this time around?
I mean, for for every qualifier or for every tournament you are looking forward to, preparations is key. You know, it's always key. And I mean, shout out to the owners of the Remo Stars facility in Ikene. I mean, it's the best in the country, no doubt. So not just the Flamingos who camp there, we've also got the Flying Eagles there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the Remo Stars team also camp there as well. So, you know, it's been wonderful, and it's a big boost for the girls when you camp in such facilities that is one of the best in the country. Is always going to give you that boost you need ahead of every tournament. And you talked about them hoping they do the job in the first leg, which we played this weekend. The Algerian counterparts in the previous qualifiers, they lost to Botswana in the first leg. In the reverse fixture, they won 4-0 in Algeria. So that tells you this is an Algerian side that can also do the job in front of their home fans at home as well. So I think we should win and win handsomely.
Yeah.
And before we go into that first leg, but I mean, take nothing away from the Flamingos. They did it over both legs against South Africa. So if they can do it against South Africa, they can also do it against Algeria. You know, the first qualifiers against South Africa, they won 3-1 in South Africa and they won 2-0 in Ikene. So you can't take it away from them. The coach of the side, Bankole Oluokore, has done a brilliant job with these girls. And when you look forward to a tournament that is going to be historic, you know, the first FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup that is going to be expanded with 24 teams as well.
Then
And
in
Africa will be hosting as well. I think for the first time as well, coming to Africa, Morocco has always stepped up for Africa when it comes to hosting, national team tournaments. So when you look forward to something historic, you always want to be a part. That's why a lot of us are not happy with the Super Eagles at the moment, because it's an expanded World Cup. And we are looking like, it's true. We are looking like we're not going to qualify, because when something new wants to come up, you always want to be a part. So maybe this might just be a boost for the girls, and I hope they do the job against Algeria, but they need to do it and do it handsomely, because going away to Algeria in the second leg is always going to be tough. So I hope they can do the job across both legs against Algeria.
Looking to do the job across both legs for the Flamingos. Before we leave this topic of the girls playing the qualifiers, let's look at the fact that the coach of the side has been one who has been with these girls. I mean, he's a builder. To me, I've seen him as a builder. He has built the last set of girls, and those ones have graduated to the under-20s, and of course, even to the national team. Some of his girls from the under-17, where they went over to India, the last World Cup in India. They finished with a bronze medal in Ga. Yes, that's where the girls went over, and of course, finished third. We saw some of those names. Some people like Okwemi Ajakaye, Taiwa Falabi. Some of them who are playing and doing so well for themselves in the NPFL. Ajakaye is currently with Robo Queens. Taiwa Falabi is currently, who was the captain of the side, is currently with Rivers Angels. And you see that these girls are doing, some of the girls who are also in the under-17 team have gone to the USA, where they are playing in the NWSL in that particular league. So yes, this man has been a builder. We've seen him groom these girls and of course give them to the next round of national team service when it concerns football. How much of an impact has this been to this age? Because I mean, we're going to talk about the next age grade, which is going to be about the men. We're talking about consistency in, not just in you can't have consistency in the team, because the kids are supposed to grow and get to move on. We're talking about this consistency or the stability in coaching. How much of stability in coaching affected talk about the Flamingos. How much has it affected them? They've become so used to participating in international competitions. In fact, this one like this, I don't think we're going to miss out of this particular one. I think it's almost home and dry for us. How much of stability has affected these girls in that particular one?
It is one of the places that I feel the NFF have gotten right in terms of their coaching selection. He's been with the team since 2021, and he's gone to the World Cup, gone to African Championship, and now again he's looking at another World Cup. Like you said, I don't think we are going to miss out on this World Cup that they are going to play the last qualifying round against Algeria. But I don't also feel we should look at it like that we are Nigeria and we did the business against South Africa in the last round. We are going to get it easy. But it's important with with developmental football. It is important that you have somebody that caters to that particular sector, because coaching the national team, the senior national team, where you have to scout players, the best legs to play for the national team, is different from when you are grooming. You are teaching those players how to play the game. They don't know how to play the game already. So there are people that are built specially for that, and Olowokere looks like a man that is built for that. So I clap for the NFF in that regards for leaving him there to take care of that team. Different set of players have come through him, and they've developed into the national team.
Of course, looking at how the girls have grown or have moved from his tutelage to other parts of their careers, both club and national team. Talking about developmental football or 8th grade football, let's move over to the men's side of things, national team football, where the Flying Eagles squad list was released this week, and it has been subject to a lot of conversations where, of course, we've seen players that went on to play in Ghana to represent us at the WAFU B tournament. Some of them made their comeback. I will notice some absentees too, which I think the guys are going to be doing talk about, not me. I'll be asking them for their notable absentees from the under-20 squad. Well, the list was released, and some of the names that returned to that particular squad was Ifeanyi Beniza, Harcourt of Sporting Lagos Academy, and of course Sporting Lagos because he plays for the senior team too. We saw the likes of Parobo Anieri, who now plays for Lillestrøm SK in Norway. He used to play for Beyond Limits, and of course was one who led them to winning the NNL last season. Talking about Parobo, he's also returning to that particular side. Very, very interesting names, both in the goalkeeping, defending, midfield, and forward positions. And of course, the captain of the side, the ever available, ever reliable, ever available. Whenever you call on him, he's always there. The captain of the side, who plays for Barcelona United. He doesn't listen to Davido's song. He's always available. Daniel Bami is in the squad also. For the under 20 side, let me start from Timothy. Who is your notable absentee in this team? The person that you think that, because the person is fit, this person was supposed to be in this under 20 squad.
Okay, I think Leonard Ngege was called up at a point when they were having friendlies and camping. I do not know why he's missing out in this position right now. I don't want to say Ahmed Akinyele because initially he wasn't called up, but I think it's just going to be Leonard for me. He's a top defender, and we are short of, looking at the list, we have just 5 defenders on the list. So I think that you don't know, it's a competition. Injuries could happen, anything could happen. You could need to change the dynamics of the game, but going with 5 defenders, I hope that it would not really be a thing. But if you would be talking about absentees for me, and I think Leonard Ngege of Ikorodu City FC is someone I would expect to be on the list.
For Ikorodu City, Leonard missing out of that particular one. The person that you saw on your screen right now when the list was shown on the screen is the ever reliable captain, like I said, our poster boy. Talking about Daniel Bame. He has been with this team, and he has always been one that you expect to see in the team now. I mean, now we always expect to see him in the under-20 squad, that particular guy. Leaving the under-20 squad and quickly moving over to talk about the Presidential Federation Cup fixtures for the next round, which is going to be the quarterfinals. Surprisingly, instead of seeing Enyimba FC, we are seeing Abakaliki FC versus Nasarawa United.
A bad day inside, so
okay, don't leave me. Wisdom will not finish you. But yes, Abakaliki FC knocked out Enyimba in the previous round. Let me even give you the results of what happened in the previous round of the that's the round of 16 of the Presidential Federation Cup. We have Akwa United defeats Inter Lagos by 1-0. Enyimba lost surprisingly 2-0 against Abakaliki FC. Remember that all these teams, there's no home or away because most of them are sent to different or neutral grounds to go play. So Ikorodu City versus Beyond Limits, which is one of the teams I wanted to talk about in this tie because of the goal I promised I was going to show you on the screen, is that particular game in Benin where they went on to defeat Beyond Limits by 2-0, with Harrison scoring a superb goal in that particular one. 2-0, that one ended. Solution FC lost to Kwara United 3-0. Plateau United defeated Osun United 2-1, and Rangers still looking to make it to the continent like Sebastian. Yeah, he said they can use that back road, and yes, I think they're actually listening to what he's saying. They went on to defeat Bendel Insurance by 1-0, and of course the coach of the side, Fidelis Electricals, believes that his team can actually make it to the continent using that route, which is very legit. I mean, that's the 4th slot for,
continent.
fourth for the continent in Nigeria. So yes, those are the results from the round of 16. So going into the quarterfinal stage of the men's finals, or the men's quarterfinals fixture, we have Abeokuta KFC versus Nasarawa United. We have Wiki Tories versus Ikorodu City. We have Aqua United versus Kwara United. That, and then the second NPFL fixture we are going to have is Plateau United versus Enugu Rangers. Enugu Rangers have been one of the teams to have faced difficult teams from the top tier teams from the very beginning of this fixture, Emmanuel, and they keep finding a way to actually triumph against them. They face Kano Pillars, they face Bendel Insurance. Right now they are placing, of course, and now they are facing Plateau United. Do you think that this is enough test of character that when they win it, believe that okay, they are going to do well for us, or they are deserved representatives for us on the continent?
I mean, they'll be deserved. They're still disappointed that they couldn't make it past the preliminary round at the beginning of the season. By virtue of winning the league, they couldn't go past the Angolan side, the Sagrada Esperança they faced before the season started. But this is another route for them, the President's Federation Cup. That game against Bendel Insurance in Lagos, I mean, there was, should I say, an extra motivation for the players, because Casey was in the stadium on the day.
Yeah.
He was in the dressing room of the players. He had to cheer them on, motivate them. Of course, some monetary rewards were being made as well. So, you know, he gave the players that extra push. And Obaje stepped up on the day from the penalty spot, got the win against Bendel Insurance, the team they faced in the final the last time they won it, talking about Rangers International. So they're looking to, you know, get themselves in the hold of that FA Cup title again. So if they go on to win it, they had the toughest run. Plateau United, of course, revenge will be on the cards. Plateau United defeated them in the league at the Cathedral a couple of weeks ago. So they would really want to get one against this Plateau United side. So for me, I think they are the favourites. If they go past Plateau United, I think they are 90% going to be the President Federations Cup winners for me, Rangers International.
Okay, moving away from Nigerian football, let's quickly go to talk about transfer rumors, transfer stories against the summer. Of course, with that disappointment in the round of 8 of the Champions League, it is very sure that or very likely that Carlo Ancelotti will be leaving Real Madrid at the end of the season. Now, someone that is tipped to go to that ground is Jurgen Klopp. Someone, when I saw the rumor, someone asked a question on Twitter, that is he aware that they're actually saying that is the one that is going, because he said that he's tired of football for a while, and that's why he took a break from football and never told us if he was ever going to come back. So people are asking if he knows that he's in the conversation right now. But looking at his style of play, or his style of football, from Borussia Dortmund to Liverpool, I mean, you support Liverpool, so he was your coach for a long period of time. Do you think he's going to fit into that Real Madrid style with the players, not just the style, but with the crop of players that are currently in that Real Madrid team right now? Do you think he's going to cook? Is he going to cook, or is he going to be cooked in that Real Madrid team?
And Jurgen Klopp, enjoy your sabbatical. That's what I would say.
You're telling him not to come back.
Are you scared?
Enjoy your sabbatical. Don't go to Real Madrid. I think they would stain his white. Real Madrid, because if you look, he's a good manager. I mean, he's experienced.
Man, what do you mean by those stains white? Please.
Well,
He's experienced.
they stained a lot of people's whites.
So
let him
you know,
finish.
see, he was at Mainz for 7 years.
Yeah.
He was at Liverpool for 7 years. I don't know if he's going to be at Real Madrid for 7 years. This is not me saying they should give him a 7-year contract, but Jurgen Klopp prides on the long term.
Yeah.
So he wants to work on the long term. You don't, and Real Madrid are a club that they don't, once results start faltering, they can pull the trigger at any time, irrespective of, you know, the manager that you are. So, and for Jurgen Klopp, talking about the players at Real Madrid, Jurgen Klopp loves to work with runners, players who are willing to put in the work. Will Vinicius give him that work ethic? Will Mbappe give him that work ethic? Will the other players give him that work ethic? So it's going to be a whole lot. I'm seeing so many disadvantages if Jurgen Klopp goes to Real Madrid, because the players, he might want to do a lot to recruit the kind of players he would want. And Madrid is a pressure cooker job. Real Madrid is a pressure cooker job. So for Jurgen Klopp, who prides himself on the long term and who would want more time, because he said it that he wants to stay away from the sidelines, then he got the job with the Red Bull Association, managing the Red Bull clubs, Leipzig and the likes as well. So coming back to the dugout with a team like Real Madrid, I think he should take his time and think about it. I don't want him to go to Real Madrid.
But if it makes that decision to go to Real Madrid next season,
I don't see working out. That's what I would say.
Okay.
I don't see Jurgen Klopp working out at Real Madrid, if you ask me. A
Emmanuel,
national team job might just be the best, but not to a club like Real Madrid.
okay, talking about national team job, I'm also seeing rumors that if Carlo leaves or Don Carlo leaves Real Madrid at the end of the summer, Brazil are waiting for him. Like, okay, we'll come and take this job.
They've been chasing him for 2 years
they've
now.
been scouting, they've been observing, like Mikolo did this morning. So do you think, do you think that that would be the perfect fit for Don Carlo after leaving club football?
Yeah, I feel the Brazilian job would be the perfect fit for Don Carlo. One is getting to that age where the daily rigors of club football is not something he might be able to cope with.
And you want Jurgen Klopp to go there.
Yeah, Jurgen Klopp is younger.
Jurgen
Jurgen
Klopp
Klopp
is
can
younger.
fit in. I agree with you that Jurgen Klopp should not go to Real Madrid, but I think Carlo Ancelotti at Brazil would do a very, very good job with them because, one, he allows his players play the way he wants. The way the players want, rather. Carlo Ancelotti is not fascinated about
He doesn't
system,
overcoach the
shape,
players, yeah.
tactics, and all of that. And that is what the Brazilians love. They want their samba football. They want Vinicius to be able to be one-on-one with defenders and take on players. With people like Klopp, Pep Guardiola, Amorim, Arteta, they want those structures, those small triangles, play shapes, and get the ball in a certain way into the net. With Carlo Ancelotti, I've picked my starters 11.
Play ball for me.
You guys should just go on the pitch and get the job done. So, Rafinha, Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo, Cunha, and the guys they have in midfield, young guys coming up and with plenty of energy. I feel he's going to cook with the Brazilian national team, and he might just help them win the World Cup.
Talking about cooking, there's something that might be cooking in the Turkish league, and something that I think is going to I think it's something that is going to be a lot of bring out a lot of smoke when it eventually if it eventually happens, because I mean it's still rumor. Like I said, we're talking about transfer rumors as the season is going to an end, and of course teams are already scouting, teams are already doing their business behind the scenes and all of that. This season we saw Jose Mourinho moved to the Fenerbahce. This season we saw Osimhen move to Galatasaray. Now there is a possibility that the two of them get to work together in that particular one, but that's not the story. The story is that this season they had kind of a clash because of one or two of their games against each other, where Osimhen came out to actually somehow insinuate that Jose Mourinho was a racist, and that brought up the likes of Didier Drogba, Michael Essien, all of them coming out to defend Mourinho and saying if there's any coach that is racist, it can never be Mourinho because of how much he values his African players. Now, if they kind of squash maybe a beef, or I don't know if they have a beef, but if they kind of squash or they are able to make it past that particular episode that happened this season, and then he decides to cross to the other side. Remember, they are both rivals, Fenerbahce and Galatasaray in that Turkish league. How do you think this is going to pan out for Osimhen's career? How do you think it's going to pan out for Jose Mourinho, looking to actually get into the conversations of being some of the top coaches presently? I'm not saying he's not a top coach. We all know he's a top coach, but presently he's not one of the coaches you are going to mention when you're having conversations. We're talking about Champions football now. No one looks at Mourinho because he is not in that mix. But when you get a player like Osimhen, it changes your story automatically. Do you think that that is going to be a perfect match? Will they work together? He has managed players with the ego and the kind of charisma of Osimhen. We've seen him with Abramovich. We've seen him with Ronaldo. Do you think this is going to be a match made in heaven, or do you think it's going to give us a Pogba kind of relationship if this eventually happens, Timothy?
To be very honest, I don't know how it's going to pan out, but I know that there could be a day where coach go off shirt for dressing room and Osimhen himself go off shirt. It's possible.
I might see another Instagram live.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But in terms of the football itself, I think it's going to be dicey because how do you leave your rival to go join another
Well, we saw
rival?
it with Raul.
Yeah, we've seen it
with the
before.
classical
We should not
teams.
see it with Turkish people.
Yeah,
Those people are extreme.
And you have
Extreme with the love, extreme with the hate.
I don't
Yeah,
see it
and if you
happening,
want to, if you want to have that happen, you have to have a man called Florentino Perez somewhere. So it's not just something you have to pull off. You have to have that done who would really make this happen for you. So I think it's going to be dicey, but if it happens, of course it's football, they are professionals. They forget what happened, the old drama of social media, the old talks of Mourinho saying the players were jumping like monkeys, then Osimhen Osimhen and his teammate and Galatasaray putting it into another light. So if it happens, it's going to be a plus for Fenerbahce, and it's going to be a plus for Jose Mourinho also, because of course we've seen Mourinho manage top strikers, the likes of Didier Drogba, Ibrahimovic, I think Samuel Eto'o at Inter. So it's something that he can pull off, but let's see how it works.
Well, if he doesn't pull it off, there's possibility of teams like Manchester United actually snatching him away from the grasp of Mourinho. So if he makes it to Old Trafford, do you think that is going to be a very good move for his career? Finally making it down to England, because he has not played in England before, talking about Osimhen. Do you think that would be the best place for him to move? Or do you think he should go to the other side of England where he gets to play for the team that was scouting him initially, talking about Chelsea?
I think both moves would make sense, but I think I would prefer Manchester United more right now, because United don't have a striker. We've seen the way.
What happens to our former other Nigerian brother?
Who's Odion Igalo?
No. I'm talking about presently. We have Zexi.
United don't have a striker that fills in that box presence. Osimhen
Højlund
does not.
Højlund should fight wrestling next season.
What Osimhen would do. Osimhen does not need, and considering the fact that Man United have a player like Bruno Fernandes who can cross the ball very well, and the likes of maybe Diogo Dalot who can also cross the ball very well. I've seen Osimhen very decent aerially. Also, his littleness in the box. So I think that I would favour him to go to Manchester United now. I know that Chelsea are building. Manchester United are also building. But in terms of what he can get in the creators, I think Bruno Fernandes has a very good profile that would make Osimhen cook very well. And in Chelsea also, like I said, it would make sense. But if I'm going to put it on who needs him more, Chelsea have a Nicolas Jackson. They are not looking to sell him at the moment. If the season starts, Nicolas Jackson starts to score goals, for coaches, they have to find a way to try to instill players. If Nicolas Jackson say in the next 10 games, I want the score, I want the assist, waiting go happen. So Osimhen comes right into Man United and starts playing football.
I think Felix has different.
I feel for strikers, and when clubs are building a squad, strikers are the last piece of the jigsaw. Now I was a midfielder in my place. But strikers are the final piece.
No.
Wow.
You said you're playing this.
now it's my talking days. Okay. But Victor Osimhen is a striker that should be going to a team that he would be the finishing puzzle. With Manchester United, there is a lot. We don't know the direction Manchester United would go next. We don't know if they have funds to be able to pay Osimhen. We don't know if they have funds to
also,
sign.
they can owe him. Okay.
Yeah, we don't know if they have the funds to sign the kind of players Ruben Amorim wants. But with Chelsea or Arsenal, those teams already have a squad from the back up until they attack. That's where those teams are lacking.
Felix, I don't think I would agree with you on this one. What do you mean Chelsea have players from the back? Chelsea, most of
they are more advanced.
Right now,
Chelsea and Arsenal are more advanced in their progression and in their review.
Arsenal is the most advanced.
Yes, Arsenal is just the best. Arsenal needs that striker. Chelsea are more advanced than Man United.
In what way?
There is Kopama if you are talking about creativity. Chelsea create a lot. Nicolas Jackson, if you check.
So if you are talking about creativity and Man United don't have creativity.
Bruno Fernandes is the only creative.
So you said from the back. Let's look at it from the back. Which Chelsea defender do you think would really be that top guy now if you call Chelsea defender?
The defenders that have gotten them, they are sixth on the log. They still have a chance to play in the Champions League. Victor Osimhen would want to play in the Champions League. I am not sure this United team would win the Europa League.
Okay.
I don't want to see Victor Osimhen struggling again next season in the Europa League. So Chelsea looks a better team. Arsenal, if Arsenal goes for him, if they can pay, that is his best option. Just be the finishing touch for Mikel Arteta's puzzle.
For Chelsea, I just think it's just the unpredictability of the club. They can, chop and change anytime. They can discard anybody at any time. So for me, Arsenal is just the best fit when it comes to teams in the Premier League for Victor Osimhen. I wouldn't want to say Liverpool because he's not the type of a slot kind of striker, according to what the manager has said.
So
what he wants from his number 9. No, he doesn't use Darwin Núñez. That's why I said it's not his kind of. Jota is preferable. So he wants a striker, according to him, who
is involved in the build-up.
Involved in the build-up as well. Osimhen is just at the box just
we
to
have
finish.
Zexi for him.
So he's not, so I don't want to
Do a
put
swap.
Liverpool in the picture. But talking about Mourinho, I
Yeah.
mean, it's going to be tough love if he gets to work with Jose Mourinho. I think they can work very well. Forget all the drama you see.
Yeah.
I think they are a perfect
Emotionalism.
fit, but it's just not going to happen at Fenerbahce.
All right,
sadly.
all that drama that you're expecting to see, all of that would be served again on Monday when we come with another edition of the program. Because this is where we're going to draw the curtains on this edition of the Gliders. I did this alongside the three gentlemen you've seen in the studios today. Emmanuel, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Timothy, thank you so much for joining me.
You know, suppose people more middle share, but continue.
In Namiji, you day now. And of course, the man who made his debut today, who is going to betray me again on Monday. Well, he's here today.
Coach already put me for bench.
And of course, I was your host today. I'll be your host on Monday. If you want to host me, call me. I'll host. Come. My name is Euphoria, and until I catch you on Monday, stay well, stay good, go to church, celebrate the resurrection of Jesus. Enjoy your public holiday, and of course, send rice, like they can rice, chop rice, send rice. See you again in the next edition. Bye.